Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of the season. Welcome to the 22nd episode of In the Corners. Might be 23rd. I don't know. One of them. But we've reached the end of the Bcihl regular season, and we have some first round playoff results to bring you guys and a heck of a lot of content to bring after that. So before we get into all of that, how are you doing, Matt?
Hey, Reese. Great to be back here with you. We're doing a late shift here tonight.
We are.
Well, I'm at the jam spot, just hot boxing it with hockey facts.
Absolutely.
Pulling an all-nighter here. I got my Vikes shirt on.
Nice. I got my Vikes hat. I got my hat. There you go. Oh, wait.
There we go.
We got a season. You get the point.
We got a season's worth of good vibes here. No doubt about that to go over. The season is over for us, but we got a lot of good feels, as they say.
Yeah.
What a great year it was. And of course, we have the finals ahead, right? How are you doing tonight, Reese?
I am good. I just worked at Bcihl Burger. I've been spending a lot of time there, actually so much time that I had to miss the playoff game, and I wasn't there for the broadcast. So if you're wondering why you're hearing a different voice last Saturday, that's because Matt, it was just him for a bit, and then luckily another guy. Who was that guy that filled in?
That was the Mariners guy, Lorenzo.
Oh, okay. Is he the Mariners commentator?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Saturday night was a bit of a curveball for us, but we jumped in there. The Vikes showed up, though. That was an awesome game.
Yeah.
After the game ended, the season kind of flashed before my eyes a little bit. And I have to say, through Sunday and Monday, thoughts about the season were kind of going through my mind because I couldn't really believe. I was in denial for a couple of days that it was over. This is the first year that I've done this, and we've followed the team closely in the league.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And, it was a hard loss. No doubt the Vikes were in the game. They wanted to push it to a game 3, but it was the Mariners who got that overtime goal. They're in the final.
Yeah, no, I got, luckily I got the last little bit of overtime. I got to see the season formally end. And I could see, it was definitely back and forth play. That McEachern goalie, definitely a little bit more of a coming out party. He ended up playing against the Ducks, I'm pretty sure, or something.
Yeah.
They kind of, they introduced him pretty late in the season, but, they bring him in that game, and he has a really good game. He makes 40 saves in a 5-4 loss. But before we get into that, let's go into the first game, which was a 5-1 loss. That was on Thursday, March 9th. The Vikes, that was their first round matchup. A lot of excitement, a lot of preparation went into that. And VIU was just there to shut the door. 5-1 win. What did you see in that one there, Matt?
That one was in NANAIMO. And, the Mariners were up 2-0 really quick. Palmer and Daniels. Palmer scored 17 seconds into the game. Then Daniels got another goal. It was 4-0 for VIU pretty quick. So hard to know what to make of that. The Vikes did have a chance on the power play in the second period to kind of get back into the game, but that's a bit of a wasted opportunity for the Vikes. Looking back on the season, can't do anything about it now, but VIU was ready for the playoffs. Maybe you, Vic, having faced SFU so many times down the stretch, maybe that affected them in some kind of way. Hard to know. But the Vikes had a better effort in game 2 than game 1, where they got beat pretty early.
Yeah, so 5-4 was that second game. This is on Saturday, March 11th. And it was an overtime game. They went back to the Vikes barn for that one, and it was a good offensive showing out for both teams, but the Mariners, Rouser was it who got that goal? I think he got the overtime winner. Adam Morton. Yeah,
he's got a couple overtime goals this year now.
Clutch player, definitely a clutch player. Yeah, we like Adam Morton around here, but
we do.
One thing that you could definitely say is a clear hindrance in the Vikes' performance is that power play. 0-7. In those 2 games. Absolutely unacceptable. As happy I am, trust me, we'll have a lot of room for this video to talk about the good things and give the Vikes their flowers. But right off the bat, it sucks that one of the main reasons why you lost is because you coughed away big opportunities. And you know what, me and Matt have been, like you said earlier, we've been watching this season closely. We've been paying attention to the ins and outs and breaking it down, doing some analysis when we're doing the broadcast. And one thing you've noticed is, yeah, that power play is a problem. It's not commonly brought up, or it's not commonly highlighted by the players themselves or by even the GM, some of the guys around. I don't hear them talk about it much, but it was a glaring problem all year. That power play was not shining. The only time we got an opportunity to see it shine was against the Ducks and Logan Lake. That's when we truly got to see them kind of really open up and make good tape to tape passes, make nice setups, but we didn't see it very often against the Mariners and SFU, especially SFU. But that's something that, you know, going into next season, unfortunately, you do lose one of your best power play guys, which is Braun. But luckily, there is still a lot of offensively capable individuals in this lineup that are going to be on the team next year. So you got to find a way. That's got to be something that August they're working on. You know, they're talking about different strategies. They gotta, or you know what, maybe the person who's you know, in charge of that in the coaching staff, maybe he's got to give a second look. You know what I mean? Maybe we got to give a second look to him. And because that's with the amount of players on this Vikes team that has put up great offense, not much of an excuse as to why the power play is so bad, especially with a quarterback like Dan Gattenby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. One of the frustrating things, Reese, no doubt that you can look at. I'll play devil's advocate a little bit and say Mariners, they got good goaltending.
Yeah.
They got good defensemen there. They have big, strong defense. You know, they're going to go up against SFU with all that skill.
Yep.
But the Mariners have big, strong defense. And Derek Krall was good in the series. He made 39 saves in that elimination game. He was good in the game. He was positionally good, but he also did a lot of scrambling. He did some scramble saves. You know, the Vikes, their top line, their top producers, they were playing gritty. Braun had 2 goals. Braun had a goal where Connor Nolan went in and body checked a defenseman and made a turnover.
Nice.
So they were whipping it around and looking skillful, but they were also playing gritty, you know. So it was a tough, hard fought game. But 0 for 7 in the series. You're right, Reese. That's something. But my point is, hand it to Derek Krall.
Yeah.
2 wins
and
in
the penalty
series.
killers. Yeah, the penalty killers for the Mariners team, clearly very competent. And we've seen that all year too. Like, they're not a team that once we got a power play, we were, you know, in the broadcast booth, we were like, oh well, time to get ready, because, you know, this Vikes power play is clinical. But no, yeah, that Mariners team's a hard, you know, they deserve to be in the finals. They're a hard working team.
The other thing was, in the elimination game, the penalties were pretty one-sided. I think it was 7-3. So
oh wow,
the Mariners had way more chances. They went 2 for 7. So I think the Vikes had a bit of a case after the game for, you know, wished a couple more would have went their way.
Yeah.
But having said that, it was a back and forth game. You know, almost literally back and forth, you know, through the scoring summary. You know, Struss and Braun in the first period, Franklin, Braun, Pickett, Struss in the second period. So goals are going back and forth between each team. Keenan Eddy went end to end to tie it at 4-4. That was kind of a classic goal of the season. Stratton Pickett had another really cool goal where he deflected a puck in. He was kind of doing a drive-by. And so, hey, it was a nail biter. I'm lost for words on that one.
Yeah, well, at least there was that, right? Definitely a better scenario than if it was similar to the first game out there, that 5-1 loss. So yeah, good. The Vikes fought to the last moment, and they take that OT loss. And yeah, honestly, the only thing you can take away from that is give your props to the Mariners. They fought hard. They got themselves a big win, and you know, they're on the island, and SFU has been public enemy number 1. So obviously, even though they're our rivals, we do want them to win. As Vikes fans, we want the Mariners to have a good showing, because it'd be nice to see a little bit of it would be nice to see a little bit of a closer contest there, because the SFU's just been looking down on everybody, right? So
one more thing I'll say about the game is, this is something we talked about on the broadcast. The way the game ended on Morton's goal, there was 2 or 3 block shots right in a row as
Mm.
well. Maybe a minute before they had a penalty kill in overtime. Gattenby blocked a couple shots. All that to say that when the puck went in and the Mariners won, Vikes players were like on the ice, literally blocking shots. Like they went through the wall 100% and more to win the game. It just wasn't meant to be this year for them.
Wasn't meant to be, and hopefully all the good things that they've kind of developed in this season can get carried over to next year. Because if we're being honest too, as Vikes fans, compared to last year, this is night and day better, and
Yeah.
this is nothing but a sign of progress and a sign of good things to come, a good bright
Nice.
future. And I've been saying that all year, even regardless of results, whether it been a little bit of a losing streak for this Vikes team, I'd say, hey, there's a young lineup there. At that time, I didn't know Braun was leaving, so that definitely hurts. But we will get into some of the new guys, the new faces that'll be on the team next year. So that's very exciting. But yeah, there's definitely things that they learned this year and developed that they can carry into next season. Hopefully the power play is one of them. But if just in case, we don't miss anything here, for the first round matchup between the Red Leafs and the Lakers, game
Right.
one was on Friday, March 10th, and SFU took a 4-0 win. Not much to comment about that. I'm sure there's more detail. We'll let Matt go on some details about these two games. But Saturday, March 11th, they had their second game, both games at SFU, and they took a 5-0 win. So pretty similar results: 4-0 on Friday, and then 5-0 on Saturday. To contrary to any sort of wild predictions that SFU was going to bottle anything, they didn't. They came through with the same effort that they put all season. So, yeah, anything to add about those games? I mean,
the only thing that gets my spider senses going a little bit is Andrew Henderson played both of those games at net for SFU. I wonder who's going to face VIU.
Yeah.
Henderson, he kind of, because Dolan played a lot of games this year too and was really good. But Henderson, he kind of looks like he's becoming the last boss, the BCIHL. Right. You got to go through all those SFU players, and then you got to beat Henderson too.
Yeah.
So he's kind of emerging. He schooled the Vikes that last game of the season. That was Henderson in there. So he's an intimidating goalie, and SFU, they're racking him up. They move on.
And they deserve it. So quickly, let's go over some quotes that you found from these Vikes players. You were messaging them on Instagram and got a little bit of, some opinions on what they thought about the season. So, yeah, I'll let you go into that there, Matt.
All right. Well, one thing I wanted to talk about, or one thing I was curious about, was what were your best memories from the season or best moments? And a lot of guys brought up I messaged about 10 other players. A lot of the guys brought up the Oregon trip. One player said Oregon trip early in the year, getting to know everybody a little bit better and got to see all the facilities on campus. Most players, that was a big moment of the season.
Yeah.
For them. And we could see it kind of in their play because they had practice, they got into the season, they went down there, they gelled as a team. They came back, then they started winning games.
Yeah.
But this is a quote from a player. As tough as the last playoff game went, it was sure fun to play in a battle with everybody. Didn't think we were going to lose that one, but just seeing how everybody wanted it and battled made it pretty awesome to be a part of. So that's a pretty raw loss, right?
Yeah.
Coming out of the season, because remember the Vikes were 3-1 against the Mariners. So
yeah,
they believed that they were going to go to the final.
They did.
And they just, didn't happen.
Not this year.
Another player says all the stories hanging out before and after practice. Can't get too specific, but it's something that I'll cherish.
So we can make a couple assumptions about that quote there. I mean, and it's a good thing. It's a net positive to have good times, to create memories, to party with your teammates. And that's why in sports, it's such a big thing to do. It's just it's not like any job. And, most jobs, they'll have a staff party, they'll have little hangouts and stuff between coworkers. But typically when it comes to a job or a career, you're not it's not necessarily a brotherhood on average, but when it comes to sports, and especially when it comes to
Yeah.
hockey, it's like a brotherhood. It's like a frat. It's like you're stuck with these individuals, and you just kind of have to make do with whatever things keep you guys close, and that creates
Yeah.
some great memories.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Team building, and the team. It's quite powerful to think of how far the team came this year.
Big time,
A
big
couple
time.
people said Lucas Thompson's goal wasn't even Lucas, but that was a big goal in Nanaimo. Lucas Thompson's goal this year. Again, the overtime win against the Okanagan Lakers. One player said fond memories with his line mates, playing chess on the bus. Dustin DeGoe's Halloween costume made an appearance as a good memory. So that's an
Nice.
interesting one. The rookie party. What else we got? That's about all we got. I thought I'd ask you, Reese, the same question. What were your favorite memories or moments from the season for you?
Um, I think it was watching the emergence of that line, that Connor, Nolan, Spears, and Braun. It felt like a video game. It was just
Yeah.
seeing guys who put up nuts, crazy points, crazy stats in their previous league, and there was so much emotion behind that. They lost a teammate, and
Yeah.
they ended up, you know, I'm pretty sure they won the whole thing, right? Did they?
Yes.
Yeah, so they win the whole thing. That's an emotional win for them, and they create chemistry that way. And what do? They come to the Vikes and do the same thing. They lead the league pretty almost. They were within the
Right.
top 10 of scoring that whole line, and it was just great to see. And it was something that I wasn't exactly used to with this Vikes team. For the last 2 years previous to this one, we had a lot of really cool individuals to follow, like the Keenan Eddies and the Matthew Hermarys, like these type of guys who just they work really hard and they're great athletes and they're great individuals to follow. But we didn't see these like necessarily skill guys, like guys who are just out there and they're gonna put up points. And we got to see it. We got to see a freshman line lead this Vikes team, and
Yeah.
that was just amazing. That felt like I was playing a game of career mode on NHL. Like I was just watching these players who are touted to be successful, right? So, yeah, that'd definitely be mine. How about you, Matt?
Yeah.
What was your greatest memory?
Well, yeah, Connor Nolan's dominance, fourth in the league.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, the Riley Braun Logan Spears connection,
Yep.
it just goes beyond hockey even.
It
It
does.
it goes
Yeah.
beyond the game,
Yeah.
and you once you have seen them and hear a bit about them, uh that's a really special thing to see, to watch them play. So that
Absolutely.
was very memorable. I liked Jacob Drapeau, his his season. The Vikes were searching in goal, but between him and Pilon, they started the season together. They hung in there and backstopped the team to a pretty good record this year,
Yeah. Yeah.
11-8-1. So shout out to the goalies, Drapeau. Uh, Moments for me, definitely the overtime goal in the showcase. That was a really
Yeah.
exciting game. And okay, after Oregon, they beat the Logan Lake Miners 11-0. We were there for that one.
Yep.
Then they went back to back with the Mariners, and they were 1-3 at that time. And you and I were talking about it. They after this weekend, they could be 1-5. Remember?
Yeah.
But they beat them twice.
That's
That was a
right.
big weekend. That was November 25th. They won 4-1 on home ice. And then the next game, that's the Logan Thompson goal game, or
Statement.
Lucas Thompson.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lucas. Yeah, so those are some of mine. Of course, the cool interviews we did, that was memorable for us too, because
Oh
we got
yeah.
a, we got a feel for the team, and I
Yeah,
enjoyed
we got
that.
to break that gap between, fan and player, right?
Yeah.
Usually when it's, for people like us, we are kind of right next to and pretty directly involved with a lot of these players, but when we were able to do the interview, we were able to just kind of crack open their story and hear their memories and what kind of made them the hockey player they are today. And regardless of whether they're NHL stars or not, it's great to see the mind behind a hockey player. It's great to see how their lives turn out and what they went through and how some people go through different things. Some, in, just kind of like any situation. And it's cool. Yeah. It makes it a little bit more real. And hopefully it creates a little bit more excitement and, I guess you could say more of a feeling of authenticity for these players because they're playing for a team that has fans. They're playing for a team that has
Yep.
supporters and has been around for a long time and has a lot of history, right? So although it's not the AHL, it's not the OHL, it's not these higher funded leagues, this is first of all, it's a completely privately funded. Like there's no people need to understand a lot of the teams that we're playing here are funded by their schools. They're varsity sports, so they get funding. This Vikes team's a club. They make money from whatever we figure out. And knowing how well they've been doing and how effective they've been at attracting talent, it's impressive. And it's something that you definitely want to write home about with this team. So yeah, it sucks the season's over, but
Yep.
there's a lot of room for excitement for next year, number one. And number two, there's a lot of
Yes.
good to look back. This was a fun ride. It wasn't just a disappointment. It would be a
Right.
disappointment if we were SFU fans and they lost in the first round. That's a disappointment. But with this Vikes
Yeah.
team, everything was a little bit, I wouldn't say blatantly overachieving, but it was overachieving, based on how they played last year and the season before that. They played lights out compared to that, right? So lots of
Yep.
yeah,
They played with a
lots
lot
of
of
good to
soul.
take away.
Yeah, they played with a lot of soul in that final game.
Yep.
And
BB King style hockey, lot of soul.
there you go. Like it. Yeah. One more memory for me is on a personally for me, when I came to um do this job with you, Reese, I didn't know anybody involved with the team at all. So that's really special to look back on. As I didn't know any of the volunteers. I didn't know you or Harry or any the GM or anybody. So looking back on that, look at all of the friendships and memories we've made here this season.
Yeah. Yep.
Braun said that a championship team, they really care about one another, and I think the Vikes in that way will be a great team forever. That
Yeah.
they can look back on this year because they were a great team to be around. We had a
They
blast,
were. Yeah.
right?
Everybody was positive. There was no feeling of like a lack of interest or a lack of caring. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't have an extensive resume in hockey, but I have been around some decently up and down teams. I've talked to a couple individuals who've played in the OHL. I've talked to some people who played on, back when I was a kid, some big AAA teams that were being talked about provincially. And you can see how some individuals just there's a lack of interest, there's a lack of care more than other guys. Some other guys will be super fired up and super into it, and then some guys just kind of look at it as another day, another game. You know what I mean? And this was a team that I didn't see any of that. I didn't see anybody just going through the motions, and you can kind of pick it out. You can pick it out on the ice and you can pick it out off the ice, but not with this Vikes team. There was no player off the top of my head, and I can't even think of an example of who seemed a little checked out, who seemed like, well, I'm doing this because it's all I got. Like everybody there seemed like,
No
nah,
way.
let's do this. Yeah, let's get
Yeah,
together.
like
Let's
the
feel united.
players who were drawing into the lineup, like Lucas or like Jackson,
Yep.
Egan, those guys were on fire when they got
Oh yeah.
into the game.
Yeah.
So they're like,
Absolutely.
like when the wheels are already going. I think that's Sonic the Hedgehog, or in a video game, your wheels are already going and you hit the ground and spin out,
Yeah.
and there's a huge spin out.
Right.
That's what comes to mind.
Yeah, no, I like that metaphor.
There you go.
Yeah,
Thank you,
lots
Reese.
of lots of memorable things, but there was
Yeah,
some great memorable goals. Keenan Eddy overtime versus the Lakers.
yeah,
Lucas Thompson game game matching goal in NANAIMO.
yeah. Game
Um
winning.
oh, but I see an M there. I
Oh
thought that
yeah,
was a
that.
tying goal. But yeah, also memorable performances, like lots of
Yeah,
good Drapeau, like that's, you know, Drapeau played great against the Mariners during the season, like
yeah,
great. And,
really
we
good.
just, I mean, the Vikes just got blatantly outplayed. I wouldn't put that on him. I wouldn't put that first 5 to win game, on him at all. But lots of seniors to shut out. We have Brendan Voss, Keenan Eddy, Matthew Hermary, Alex Benger, Braun, who's not necessarily a senior. He's just going on to,
He's an old timer.
yeah, he's got future endeavors to take care of, which obviously
Yep.
we are rooting for him. Hopefully, wherever he goes, he can continue to have the success.
No doubt.
Sometimes
All these
people
guys.
some people just have success at every level. Great example of that is Cole Caulfield for the Montreal Canadiens. Every level he's ever played at, he's not only
Who?
won. Cole Caulfield, yeah, you got to know who that fella is. The American sniper, 5'7",
Yep.
baby sniper. And the thing is Braun's another example of that. Just a guy who, when you look at his stats, he's found a way to perform at every level and also win. So hopefully he can do the same thing. It sucks we don't get more years of him, but you also can't blame him for looking on to get a bigger opportunity in the game of hockey, because this guy is a gamer. And I think guys like him, guys with a lot of pride and guys who just keep knocking at the door, end up in the NHL. I mean, how many people could we name? Tanner Jeannot, who just brought in a first round pick for his team. He was never drafted.
Yeah.
Lucas Thompson for the Vegas Golden Knights. That's a guy who used to play U Sports at Brock University in St. Catharines, Ontario, and now is being in the conversation for the Calder Cup. All these examples. So, guys like Braun, I think if one day, fast forward 5 years, we see Braun get a nice little entry-level 2-way contract or something, I'm not surprised. Hot take. I'm not surprised. I think guys like that. I got a buddy too in Europe, Dante Massey. This guy's been knocking at the door forever, and these are guys that keep working, and as they keep working, their name stays into the conversation while other names fall out of it. And that is, next thing you know, your name finds that spot where, oh man, we're a void for talent. We don't have draftability at this point. We need to just sign a couple free. Oh, there's this guy. He's been playing crazy in this league. Why not bring him over? Same thing with Braun, right? So yeah, hopefully.
I can relate to that a lot as a musician. You kind of start off your young career, you put out some music, and you find yourself kind of not where you expected, but you still want to be a musician.
Yeah.
Like, what, you're not going to quit,
Right.
so where, like, I was talking to Coach Dillon about this. My favorite coach when I was a teenager or in junior high was Alan Fleck. He was drafted by the Canucks.
Oh, wow.
Like the 70s or something, right?
Okay.
But he just I think he worked for an oil company in a small town where I grew up, in Carlisle, Saskatchewan.
Okay.
And he was such a good coach. He was kind of mean looking, but he really taught us a lot. And he would do things like offer to be a designated driver and stuff like that. Like, he was
nice.
And once I've understood that about the BCIHL, that these guys that's their vibe with their hockey career. Like, it's for others almost. It's for the community, for their kids when they're kids, for their teammates. Then something clicked, and I really started to enjoy the team. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally. And that's, I mean, you know what, the fact that you bring up, putting effort in for the result that can be received by others is this show. Like, we don't do the show because we forget, what goes on in the league, and in case we need to remind ourselves, we watch the video. No, we make this because we know there's people at home who watch the BCIHL, and they kind of want to hear someone echo their thoughts a little bit, and then they want to throw it in the background. And if you're a player in the BCIHL, or if you're just a parent of one of the players, or you're just a fan of the league, you're hearing what we're talking about, and it's keeping it relevant, and it's kind of creating an excitement behind the league, because this is an exciting league, and it's not going to get all that social media and, not necessarily TV, but, for a lack of a better term, the TV coverage of this. And, that's because it's not, there's not a bunch of money in it. And obviously that is indicative of the viewership, but at the same time, the only way you can grow it is to, like you said, create some love for the sport for other people. If you're a teammate and you're like, and your buddy on your line, or a buddy, on the team went off you just put it on Twitter, you put it on Instagram, you promote it because it's for them, and it creates like almost like I said earlier, an authenticity for the league. And it makes you kind of feel a little bit like a celebrity, right? And these players should, because they
Yeah.
are going out there just like the NHL teams. They're going out there, they're practicing hard, they're dieting. You can't be out of shape or you're not going to play. You know what I mean? So these are
Yeah.
these are
Oh
players
man,
who
I
care.
I show up. I show up just cut and ready
Oh,
to.
we
I
have
show up just
abs.
flexing. When as
Yeah,
soon as I get to the rink, I'm looking good. I'm bulging out of my shirt, and I'm
literally.
just
Yeah. You can hear the testosterone seeping through the broadcast.
man. I actually popped a button on my jacket the other day. Uh, that was tough for the
The ego.
confidence. It was tough
Yeah.
for the ego. Yeah, you know,
Yeah. No, I get it.
just that button just
You
blew.
know what
I
it
didn't.
is?
Even, I didn't
It's
even
those
move. I didn't even
it
move. It just blew off.
just blew up. Yeah, you know what it is? It's
Yeah.
it's that hot house pizza, and also the McDonald's coffee and donuts and cookies that we sell at the ENH Tour Complex next
There you
season. So
go.
be there. Got some great support there. But let's kind of end this episode off, unless you have something else you want to go into on the finals. So let's kind of
Yeah,
break down what we
let's
can
do it.
expect with this finals. So I will let whoever's been sticking around the whole video here, we're going to try to do a match reaction or a watch along for the SFU game. Now, there's a couple routes we could do this, and me and Matt haven't exactly etched out the details, but I'm going to throw it out there. We could either get together and watch it and then film it, and I can actually throw it on our YouTube channel. We could do a live stream where we won't show the game, but we could just show our reactions. We can throw a couple graphics up
Oh,
that say the scorers.
oh my God,
Or,
Jersey Orchard.
yep, yeah, exactly. A little bit of, yeah, right. Just right. Or we could do it Zoom style, similarly, and we can just kind of keep recording these meetings as we're watching the game, and you guys can get our reaction that way. We don't know how we're going to do it exactly. We're going to do a little discussion, but yeah, there's a lot of excitement for these games coming up. So what days are they, by the way?
They are Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, we're taping this on Thursday, so
Yeah, so
we'll,
Friday.
we'll cook something up here. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna check out these finals. Hey,
Absolutely.
I got a few things to run by you, Reese. I'll talk about the finals, and then maybe that'll set you off with some of your ideas about the finals. These teams have played 3 1-goal games this year. One game in overtime. Their game, they played a game last month that was a 2-goal game. That was for February 25th. They're playing close games. The big thing for me is Crawl. He's faced 200 shots against these guys. He plays every game. He's let in 25 goals in 5 games. So that his goals against average is 5 against SFU. Okay. Well, it's SFU. That ain't so bad.
You're right.
When,
You're right.
when you got 200 shots. My point is VIU has got to score 5 somehow against these guys. If they want to win the game, they got to get 5 goals in on Dolan or Henderson. So they got the 2 top scoring people in the league. The game that they won against SFU all the way back at the start of the year, Palmer got 4 goals. They're going to need something like that. Dunlop, he got 7 or 8 points against the Vikes that one game. He's got 55 points on the year. What I'm saying is they can put up some goals here. What do you think of their chances are just to even win that first game? Or how do you see this playing out, Reese, this series?
I do think a little bit of a hot take, but I think SFU will be put on their heels the first game. I think the Mariners are going to try to come out flying, and they're going to try to give them something different. So if we go back a couple episodes here, one of the things I said that would really help the Vikes have a way better chance at beating the Mariners is mix it up. And how mix it up? Physical. Start getting physical. This is clearly I'd say since the showcase, this Vikes team has kind of been explained as solid D, okay, not fantastic and not horrible. Solid D, very solid, consistent, great three lines that all can forecheck. They're good two-way. They have penalty kill ability. They're good skaters, hard workers, and then your one freshman scoring line. So you kind of became a little bit of a skill team, right? Because you have that top D pairing of Gattenby and von Schoenberg, or Gattenby and DeGo, whatever they kind of threw together. And then you had that freshman line of Nolan, Spears, and Bronze. So that kind of became their identity as the months went on. Scoring was
Yeah.
a little bit more spread out in the first couple months, but again, it was still being dominated by that freshman line. And knowing that, you kind of want to go into that game knowing that the Mariners probably thought, okay, so what can we do to beat the Vikes? Let's shut that line down, that scoring
Okay.
line, because why wouldn't you do that? They're clearly carrying the offensive scoring load. And if you shut them down, then it's going to put the responsibility of their senior players and the rest of those lines at a much more important priority. It's going to lead to kind of what we saw, right? And, I feel like that's something that the Mariners got to do. They got to mix it up. They got to find a way to get really physical. And this SFU team is capable of being physical and capable of being skilled. They're kind of a jack of all trades in this league. So,
yep.
that's
Are
what you
you
got to
saying
do.
the Mariners got to kind of identify some key players for the Red Leafs
And target them.
bang them around, kind of?
Correct. I am blatantly saying they're going to have to target some of their players.
Yeah. Well, I got a few candidates for that. Logan Bromhead. He wears
He's
number 9 for SFU.
Bromhead, yeah.
I didn't know this, but he's got 16 goals. He's 4th, I think, in the whole league. Because the way the season started off, it was all about Wicks and Hilton and Ledyard. But they're deep, and that second group is emerging. Jersey Orchard, he's almost got a goal per game. He's on a tear right now. And Bromhead. So not to mention their defense scores a lot of points. Like I'm talking Karen Mischief, 25 points, Cross, 17. It's just, I see your point. Mariners got to go in there with a physical presence, but at some point it's whack-a-mole. Like you just run out of people to check. I mean, you can't check 3 guys
everybody
at once.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's true. And it's funny you say that too. Yeah, because just when you take another glance at that SFU lineup, you just realize, like, oh my gosh, it doesn't drop off. Like, there at no point does it get like, okay, well, these guys are a little bit one trick ponies, or these guys have they excel at one area that you can kind of counteract. It's not the case. A lot of these guys are Swiss Army knives that can kind of do a little bit of everything. And that's what makes them so scary. And then I'm not even mentioning how their goaltending has been fantastic. I'm not even mentioning how all 3 of their D partnerships are flying, and they're really hard to get by, and they're really tough to play against. So yeah, basically to conclude my preview, I guess you could say, take on this BCIHL finals for the 2022-2023 season is VIU's got to come in and give them a new identity. They're going to make it really tough and kind of find a way to get them emotional, because like I've been saying this all year, if you don't find a way to get SFU off the game that they've been playing all year, nothing's going to change. It's just going to be the same blowouts every game. And we can have a conversation where we're going to be coming out with a lot of other content in the coming weeks, and we can have a conversation about whether SFU should even be in the BCIHL, because their level of compete is so far above every team. Plus they're funded. Knowing all these things, it brings a game that VIU's got to completely mix it up.
Yeah, well, maybe the Mariners can jump on them in that first game.
Yep.
The first game is the best one for them to win. So that's, if you're the Mariners, that's that. And if you're the Red Leafs, you want to raise the cup. Buddy Johnson down there in Park House. Get those grinders who score every game.
That's it.
What do you think, Reese? Should we call it here, or what do you want to do?
We'll call it here. We'll leave it at this. The VIU Mariners will face off against the SFU Red Leafs tomorrow and Saturday for sure. And then we'll see if we get a Sunday game. Honestly, fingers crossed. I hope we do. It'd be nice to see that. But stay tuned for all the content that's coming very soon. We got lots of stuff. Stay tuned with the Instagram. Just because the season ended doesn't mean that content stops. It's actually going to be more. So, Matt, you got anything to leave them with?
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Reese. Thanks, everybody, and the Vikes. Appreciate you guys.
We'll
Have a great final
next week
over there.
Good luck, Mariners. Good luck, Red Leafs.
There you go.